come this way before. Travel through that open door.
Circumstances navigated the path, and life happened all so fast. No, we got lonely sometimes. You see, I know we couldn't make it. Even when I'm
Offbeat, I still land on my feet, and nothing can shake me.
Cause I know life took a hold. I never. This is where I am destined to be. I'm not
Ready to give up.
I believe in the miracle of life.
One time, we're gonna do this one time, and then we going in. All right, sing along, hey.
Quickly they'll come for your role. Games get played, can't take it personal. Cause
The devil is a lie, hey.
I'm telling
Tell you
you
the truth, hey. It's all in what you do, hey. Some things you gotta do, hey, hey, hey. I appreciate y'all coming in, man, for a special edition, man. We're about 6 hours early, but we 6 hours on time, man. I thank you guys for coming in. Real briefly, we still going live 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time tonight, and we still gonna rock and roll with the show tonight. But we have a special guest. Y'all know how special this guest is for me. I talk about her father quite often, and we just gonna bring her in, man. No other than Ilyasha Shabazz. Thank you for coming in. Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How you doing? Welcome to the barbershop. Let me adjust my camera as well. Welcome to the barbershop, man.
Well, thank you.
It's definitely.
I like your barbershop.
Yeah. We had to go all in.
Yeah.
You know, I have a space where I have a boxing platform, and since the coronavirus, I've expanded it to all topics as it relates to the rest of the world. And prior to that, I have a big boxing platform, and this is just a space where Black men can just be themselves, you know, and talk boxing and talk real life, and it's gonna be fun, man. We're gonna powwow, have a great time.
Okay.
So yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, and obviously the obvious questions are, before I get into it, is you've written a couple of books. You've written a couple of books as it pertains, and you won countless awards and been recognized. And if you don't mind talking about talk about your two books, and then we'll segue into like life as the daughter of Miss Shabazz, Mr. and Miss Shabazz.
Okay. Well, I have 5 books.
5 books. Yeah. Okay, let's go 5.
Yeah, I have 5 books. So let's see, which one should I talk about?
Grown Up X. I Growing Up X.
Okay. Growing Up X was, it's about I have 5 sisters,
Mm-hmm.
and it is about one of the daughters of Malcolm X and Betty Shabazz, the values that they found important and instilling in their children,
Mm-hmm.
and about what it was like, growing up in our household.
Mm.
It's also a tribute to my mother because I wrote it shortly after she passed away.
Mm.
And so it was an opportunity for me to just look at her life as a source of inspiration for others.
Mm-hmm.
She saw her husband gunned down right in front of her. Our home had been firebombed. And in spite of all of those challenges and traumatic experiences, she never gave in to victimization and never accepted no or I can't as an answer for herself. And she persevered, and she raised 6 girls. She safeguarded her husband's legacy. She was very much committed to the community, to the local community, as well as the global community. And, just the importance. And I think really all of my books are about self-love. In order for me to gladly come on your show and have this discussion with you, and, on so many other platforms, as well as I'm sure yourself, you have to first have this, sense of self-love. You have self-love. We see one another as a reflection I see you as a reflection of me, vice versa. If something happens to you, I jump in and try and help you best I can. And it all really starts with self-love. And so all of my books are basically promoting those kinds of values. My children's book, my young adult books, and really my adult books. And I have a new one that's coming out. Well, actually, Growing Up X Audible will come out with the Audible of the autobiography of Malcolm X in September next month. And then in January, I have a book, The Awakening of Malcolm X, which comes out.
The Awakening of Malcolm X.
The Awakening, yes. So that is about his time in jail.
Oh.
And having the opportunity to address a lot of the misconceptions and seeing Malcolm at his core, seeing who he was and his commitment to his people. He was on the debate team, the prison where he was, the colony, debated, Harvard, MIT, Boston University, and it's just it's definitely an eye opener.
How did you do your research for The Awakening? I'm very interested in your.
Well, for all of my books, because they're all historical novels, and they're exciting and they're award winning. But for all of them, and for The Awakening, speaking to my aunts and uncles who are now no longer here, and doing a lot of research from really years ago, and always wanting to be able to give a more accurate story to my father's youth. His father was the president of the Midwestern chapter of Universal Negro Improvement Association, the Garveyite, the Garvey movement, which commanded millions of followers worldwide in the 1920s and 30s. His mother was the national recording secretary. And so, the story that's often given is that Malcolm was this derelict child who went to jail and miraculously became Malcolm X. And when you understand that, your parents play a pivotal role in who you're going to become. The adults around our children play a pivotal role in who our children are going to become. So it speaks to the importance of being involved in our young people's lives. That rites of passage, all of those things.
And when you think of that, you can totally see how his father's leadership characteristics were embedded in him, and his ability to speak in public and to articulate his thought process as it pertains to being Malcolm X post prison.
Oh, that absolutely. And even being Malcolm X in prison.
Absolutely.
And having the capacity to to see right from wrong, and the compassion for his brothers, because when he went to the colony, which was a really famous prison for rehabilitation, it was an experiment and it was a dormitory. And he went to this place, which was far superior than the one he had gone prior, which was Charlestown. Charlestown was, very typical prison for Blacks. And he opted to go back to Charlestown after he had gained so much knowledge that he wanted to share with his brothers, much like he did when he was released and was able to grow the Nation of Islam from 100 followers to tens of thousands of followers out of his commitment to his people, to let them understand their true identity, the importance of history and the richness of our heritage, and to see institutionalized racism for what it was, and to understand how we needed to go about finding solutions to these ongoing challenges.
Now, you speak of solutions. One of the $1 million questions I'm sure you asked is, what would Malcolm X be today? Like in terms of his leadership role and in terms of the progress from obviously 1965 to 2020?
Well, I think that we would not be in this predicament today
Mm.
because, my father was about solutions,
Yes.
and he spoke about, things that just weren't realistic. He was a realist, and he was always looking for solutions to rid this oppressive element that existed for such a long time. And, oftentimes we see the distractions. When we look back in history, we can see how we were distracted to think that everything was fine. And, one of the things my father said is that we can't just sit back and think someone else is going to solve our challenges. We saw what happened to George Floyd right in front of our eyes.
Absolutely.
And understanding that what happened to George Floyd happened over and over and over and over again before we were able to record these kinds of killings, this brutality. And it continues to happen. It's happening right this very second. And so for my father, it was understanding what's happening and looking for solutions. He said something like, you can't put a knife in my back 12 inches and pull it out. Well, maybe he said 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches and say everything's okay. The knife is still in my back. And it's not going to be resolved until you take the knife completely out my back and then address the blow that the wound made. And so we haven't done that yet. And that's where my father was.
Wow.
And much like is it your great grandfather? Great grandfather?
My grandfather?
Yes, your grandfather.
Yeah. Why is America afraid of the Black Messiah?
Well, why do when we look at
or the rise of the Black Messiah, as COINTELPRO eloquently put it?
Right. I think you can look at us and you can see how great we are. In spite of all of what we've endured, the Holocaust of Black people worldwide, and yet we still thrive, right? We still thrive. And, it's just a very unfortunate situation because I think that we share, right? We would share some of the resources and the wealth and resources of the continent. We share by jumping in and doing the work. All we ask is that you respect us as human beings and allow us to coexist peacefully. And so
it's troubling to think that when you listen to the Ballad of the Bullet and you see 2020, it's like he told you in Detroit that this was the problem, and now it's like a repetitive cycle. And when I think of your father, I think he would have been more powerful than the president. He would have been more powerful than the Pope. He would have been more powerful than a Nobel Peace Prize. And I think that that's what they're afraid of. The obvious answer is to upset the apple cart, which being the system, and having its originator, which is the Black man, in control of this artificial system that they've created and forced us to believe, as it pertains to like religion, capitalism, materialism, and it just goes on and on,
Right. And then taking all of our accomplishments as their own.
Oh man.
And it's just ridiculous. And I'm hoping that that we will be steadfast. We are awake, right? Yes. We're awake right now.
We are.
And the other people are awake too. And thank God for that. And so what will we do with being awake? Woke.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the term.
What will we do with that?
Yes.
And my father said only a fool would sit back and allow his enemy to teach his children. And so, it is important that we are very focused and that we are strategic and that our goals are shared amongst us.
Yes.
And that we continue until we've checked off all of, the check marks for those goals that we've identified, so that we're not going to find ourselves protesting and marching aimlessly, having accomplished nothing.
Yeah.
Because, we can get distracted.
Yeah.
Because that's what we know, that's what's always happened.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, your dad did say swing, if I'm not mistaken. Not harsh. Well, so I gotta ask, what do you think the progression of Malcolm's and Martin's relationship would be after Malcolm, assuming obviously Malcolm was alive, when after his speech, that being MLK, I've led my people into a burning building. Do you often think of the relationship that could have been?
Well, they were already establishing a relationship.
Yeah.
When my father went to Selma and did, the message to the grassroots, when he was speaking at SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, and Coretta King, who we call Auntie Coretta, was on stage with him. They had already, they were in the planning stages of working together.
Are you pleased with the depictions of your father as it pertains to Godfather?
Absolutely not.
Elaborate.
Well, I think it was really a great program, but they are historical characters. Malcolm X, Adam Clayton Powell, and the storyline is really geared towards Bumpy Johnson.
Sure.
And, Adam Clayton Powell made some significant contributions. He wasn't, if we're going to say who Adam Clayton Powell was, he wasn't just a womanizer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There was so much more to all of the things that he contributed. And the same thing with my father. My father wasn't just into getting converts. He didn't go into like an infirmary and speak to these people. He spoke to their soul, and it was about telling them who they are. It wasn't, do you feel okay? Did you, it wasn't that kind of thing. And so there was so much more to Malcolm and Adam Clayton Powell and many of the characters. But I did think that it was, definitely a good program, had I not known the truth of who Malcolm was. There was so much more to Malcolm than what was portrayed.
What's your first? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No.
What's your first family memory? Albeit with Malcolm, with mom, with your sisters. What's your first memory, if you can recall?
I mean, I have lots of memories. My mother was really great because she she kept the stories very current.
Yes.
Of our father. And so, as I usually say, like my youngest sisters, the twins, my mother was pregnant with the twins when, my mother was pregnant with the twins when her husband was slaughtered. But yet, you would never know if you talk to my Malak and Malika that they never met my father, And even like me, I was actually, all of us were like toddlers. We were really young when my father was gunned down. And so I think I remember this beautiful, vibrant smile, I know, so my mother just shares so many stories that I feel like, they're my story. Like I remember. And, I remember a blue and white rocking chair that he gave me. I remember this beautiful brown doll, that he gave me. But I was really, quite young to have any real memory. But always seeing my mother and thinking that she was like an angel. I thought she was the most beautiful person I'd ever seen.
Sure.
Yeah. And I could, I did whatever she said. I trusted her. She was so loving. She was just beautiful. She was a beautiful person inside and out.
Can you speak to the transitions you guys had as children, and your mom transitioning as the further away she got from Malcolm's death, could you see a transformation in her at all? Or,
I'm sorry. A transformation? What do you mean?
Like she has to adapt to a world where there's no more Malcolm X. There's lingering suspicions about the man that self-proclaimed changed Malcolm X's life may have betrayed him. Like her.
Who was that?
The Nation of Islam. Like there are speculations that maybe the Nation of Islam had a play in Malcolm X's death. And
well, it's not so much the Nation of Islam. It's that the organization was infiltrated with government agents.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not so much the organization, because they would like us to believe that Malcolm was a part of this cult that played a part, and they got jealous of one another, and then they killed each other off because they were just a bunch of hoodlums.
Yes.
Right? That's what they would like the world to think, and history books to remember.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case at all. My father posed a humongous threat.
Yes.
To capitalism, to imperialism, to colonialism. And
tell us what you think happened, if you don't mind.
Well, it's already kind of already out there that there were government agencies that conspired to kill him, just like they did conspire to kill Dr. King, John F. Kennedy, So, so the Nation of Islam, there were members within the nation, just like there were members in the Black Panther Party, and there were members in many organizations that were government aides, officials.
What would a conversation like you and Minister Farrakhan sound like today?
Actually, I had a conversation with him, and he basically told me about stories from when he was in his youth.
You how did you come to grips with it and allowing yourself to grow and to nourish? Because there's people that still have pain, like in terms of Malcolm, in terms of the Nation of Islam, in terms of the government. How did you, if you ever come to peace with it, what's your solace mechanism?
Well, listen, it's a process of life. We have people who were lynched, right? People who just will continue to be treated in a horrific way. And I think when I look at my mother, she didn't allow that to consume her, because as she said, she still had to take care of her babies. She still had to safeguard her husband's legacy, for the benefit of future generations. And so if we allow all of this to consume us, life will end, right? Life will be over and we will have accomplished nothing. And so, for me, I do as much as I can. I want to continue to be happy. I don't want to live, being miserable and bitter and victimized and all that kind of stuff. And so, for me, I think of my ancestors that went through far worse, like horror.
Yes.
There are people I just read about, all of these Blacks who weren't allowed into Greece.
Yeah.
And so they just left them out in the water to die, to fend for their own, right? We know people are dying in so many horrific manners. And so I think our job is to leave the world in a better place than we found it. And so for me, it's always been important because my mother made sure that I grew up with a lot of self-love, that I knew who I was as a woman. I, learned about the significant contributions women made, significant contributions Islam made, and the significant contributions people of the diaspora made. So I grew up with a very healthy sense of who I am. and
Yeah.
understanding my purpose,
Yeah.
in life, and knowing that this life is going to end. It's not, forever, and we can't take, these things with us. And so it's, what can we do? What can we give before our life perishes?
You mention your mother quite often, and how do you want the world to receive your mother? I know you speak of her eloquently, but if you could summarize her, and do you think that she gets her just due? You understand what I'm saying? Because she had to raise 6 girls into women post Malcolm X murder.
That's right. And I think she did a great job. It had to have been difficult. My mother didn't let her daughters, see her traumatized, because she had to have been. She lived through the firebombing of her home with all of her babies, and pregnant with twins, and then to see her husband gunned down in front of her, and still go on and pretend like she was okay to her girls. I remember when I was in college, and she came, and I was getting a car, and I thought, you just get the car and you go, like you go in the store, and you get a car and you just leave. I didn't know you had to go to the motor vehicle, and you had to do all of these things. And so I remember being online to do something at, like at the cashier part. And when I turned to look at my mother, she was like almost hunched down, like she was exhausted. But when I looked at her, she immediately perked up with a straight back. And so I'll never forget that, now that I'm older, to just think, my gosh, she went through hell. She went through freaking hell. Excuse me. She really went.
Oh, you're in a barbershop. You're comfortable. You're in the safe place.
She went through hell like many of us. And she did not want to see others have the same kind of pain that she had. So she was a very compassionate person. She was a very loving person. I understood when I wrote Betty Before X, the middle school book, I understood why my father chose her as his wife, because they were both God-fearing, great faith, and they read everything that you can imagine, and really significant human beings.
Beautiful. We got some comments from the people listening. Salute, Fred. Great to see you. Ilyasha Shabazz in the barbershop, letting you know you got family in here with you. I'm the oldest grandson of Bishop Charles Little. Me and my son enjoy your books.
Oh,
hey, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
And so there are a lot of men in the Little family were, bishops, reverends, ministers, men of the cloth, including my father, for Islam. Yeah.
Lonnie DeCarlo has a question for you. When was the moment you realized the huge impact your father had on our culture?
When I went to college and people started chasing me around campus and saying, "Are you Malcolm X's daughter?" and I didn't know, I was really petrified because I had not experienced that before, because my mother, as I said, she was extremely overprotective. And so that was when I realized.
Did your mother answer, if not many, if not all, your questions about your father and the history of him?
Well, my mother didn't talk. She never talked about when he was gunned down, but she just always said the greatest things that you can imagine about her husband, and she blushed when she spoke of him.
Interesting. Why is that, you think?
Because he was amazing. I mean, when I asked her why didn't she remarry, she said, "Who would I have married after Malcolm?"
Wow.
Right. So she continued to love him. I mean, she's buried on top of him.
Yeah. Speaking of buried, I actually, my trip to Mecca is Ferncliff Cemetery once a year. I go there once a year, and I visit your mother and your father.
Oh, that's nice.
Typically around May, I go there. And ironically enough, he's buried in the same cemetery as James Baldwin. I find that so poetic. Right. I find that so poetically awesome. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And what's the conversation like with you and your 5 sisters?
Well, we don't talk. What do we? We probably talk about our mother. We don't really talk that much about daddy. But we talk about our mother, and we're always talking, or grandmother, or our youth, because I think we just had just a really full life, you know. And when my mother was alive, it was just, you know, great.
You know, I often get sense of satisfaction as it pertains to your family's legacy is when we going through strife, and or when someone wants to tell the truth on being a social media, a hip hop song, a musical, or any form of art. They always many times they make reference to your father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What does that give you a sense of satisfaction that it was a job well done?
Absolutely. And, you know, they usually have to come to us for permission. And, you know, if the lyrics are, you know, right, and, you know, we say yes, of course.
Jay Martin says, salute Fred and the beautiful Ilyasha Shabazz. You are a beautiful woman. I'll tell you that. Very, very beautiful. And has there ever been a time where publicly you thought that they wasn't depicting your father correctly and you had to step out in front?
Absolutely. Many times. That's why I wrote my books.
Well,
absolutely. All the time. All the time. And you know, even especially when I hear people acknowledging all of these leaders, and then they might, you know, and instead of including my father, they will go and reach and find someone from, you know, another country, which is okay. But why? What's wrong with Malcolm? What's the, you know? So absolutely, that happens a lot. That happens a lot. But, you know, again, it's the reason why I'm doing, you know, my family, you know, is relentless in making sure that we are appropriating his legacy, you know, and it's not so that he can shine, but for the benefit of future generations.
What would a conversation be like with President Obama, 2007, President Obama, and what would the conversation be like in 2016 with your father?
I couldn't tell you that.
You couldn't tell me that?
I couldn't tell you that, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your?
Because you know what I think sometimes, you know, even with him being in office, right? I am sure that he must have gotten many threats.
Absolutely. I
am sure that they threatened him about his, you know, his girls, his daughters. You know, I will never forget looking at, I forgot which program, but when it was their last day, and the eldest daughter, Sasha, was crying uncontrollably. And there was a reason why she just couldn't stop crying. And her mother couldn't reach out to her and console her. She just looked at her. But her daughter couldn't stop crying. And you can only imagine what they must have endured. That was not an easy feat. And, you know, you know, I hear so many different things about, you know, the Obamas. But, you know, we don't really know. What I do know is that my family suffered tremendously. And so I can only imagine the sacrifice and the threats that must have occurred.
What's your thoughts on Election Day in 2020?
Well, I will most definitely be voting. I think it's extremely important. You know, my father talked about the ballot or the bullet. And, you know, once we get whomever we want in the office or out of the office, then we have to make sure that we have an agenda and that what is on our agenda is being upheld.
Do you think that Donald Trump being in office excites the movement, like encourages us to fight more and stand up more for what we believe in? Or you just think it's just politics as usual? He's just the man with the suit on.
No, I think we're too brilliant to just have politics as usual. Those days are gone. You know, I think we are awake And you know, and that's the thing. That's what they didn't want us to know. They didn't want us to know that we built those pyramids. You know, we resurrected all of those monuments, all of the art that's in the British Museum, that's in, you know, and all of these other museums that now African leaders are demanding the return of their historical artifacts. Ethiopia demanded the return of the obelisk, which is that high, skinny looking pyramid that is near the White House that used to be across the continent. That was a funerary object to honor those who made great contribution. And so they demanded the obelisk from Italy, the obelisk of the Queen of Sheba. And they said that the rightful place is for her people, and that it's for their identity. And that Mussolini stole it when, you know, they plundered, you know, back in the, you know, the 1900s, you know, early 1900s. And so, you know, we're beginning to understand our motto was universal spirit and intellect, you know, God and scholarship. And so we're seeing, wow, we're some smart people. And you know what? Our skin is actually quite beautiful. And the meaning behind our hair, you know, standing up, the electrical currents that can come from the hair, you know, the melanin in our skin. So we're starting to discover, aha, that's what Malcolm was talking about when he said your skin is gold, you know, and that was why he gave us these shock treatments during that time, because he knew that we had been, that we really had been bamboozled for hundreds and hundreds of years and traumatized, suffering PTSD. I mean, now we can look at the pictures of what was done to us, you know, using our babies as alligator bait, cutting women's stomach open and watching the baby drop out as they're being lynched, and then stomping the head of the child. I mean, all these atrocious acts. So we're discovering that we're actually beautiful, that we are like dynamic, that we are brilliant. Look at all of what we our inventions. You know, even when we were held under someone's boot, look at what we invented. Look at what we did. You know, if it had not been for our enslaved ancestors, we all today would not have the opportunity of calling the United States of America our home, land of the free, the richest, the most progressive country in the world, right? So, you know, it says a whole lot about us. And we're still here.
It's still here. What are your thoughts on reparations?
Well, I think that if we would learn in our educational curriculum that the acts of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, and so many other traumas that were afflicted on us are as American as the Boston Tea Party, then more people would understand the need for reparations. And if we learn about, you know, our, you know, the rich continent, about the Empire of Benin and all of these other, you know, parts of our history existed, then we would understand the complexities of Africa today.
Yeah, you got more people want to respond. How do you feel about the Netflix series Who Killed Malcolm X? The little blood in me was boiling. I wanted to piss on the grave of the gunmen from the Newark Mosque, but figure it's not my place.
You know, for me, it's more about understanding who played a role in orchestrating the killing, and then looking at the challenges that exist systemically, and working to fix that. Because I understand how he's feeling, but you know, if he's going to do that, that's not going to really resolve anything.
Gotcha. We got one.
I think it's important to be strategic.
We got one more. Peace, blessings, and prosperity to you, Queen. If you had a moment and your father was standing in front of you, what would be the first thing you would say?
Oh, I would probably tell him I love him and I'm so proud of the work that he did. I'm so proud of my father. I mean, he was such a young man, and we don't even realize Malcolm was only in his 20s. You know, when the world learned of him, he was 39 when he was gunned down, and he traveled all around the world when it wasn't even popular to travel abroad. And he wasn't traveling for vacation. He was searching for solutions to get this boot off of our neck. And he came up with some solutions. You know, he gained the support of various African leaders and connected with the Organization of African Union and the Organization of Afro-American Unity, so that he could work together to end the brutality and all the things that existed by bringing the U.S. up on charges at the UN Supreme Court and charging them with violations against our human rights. And so, you know, that is one of the solutions that Malcolm did, and why he is not included when they speak about, you know, these giants is likely because they either don't know, right? They've been misinformed, or, you know.
Do you believe he deserves a national holiday?
Absolutely, I think he deserves a national holiday. But the only way he's going to get a national holiday is by his people, the people that he sacrificed his life for, understanding his significant contribution and the importance of instilling these kinds of values in our children.
Have you had a conversation with Thomas Hare?
No.
Can you elaborate or speak to have you ever had any pressures being Malcolm X's daughter?
Have I had any pressure?
Yeah,
you can answer that.
Yeah, I know, and I can't assume the answer because you're more intelligent than I am. Teach you.
Yes.
You know,
I mean, I still have pressure. You know, sometimes I'm just like, you know, yes, absolutely. But you know, what's most important is that I have a good relationship with God. And I understand that God is the only judge, that other people don't, you know, they can't, their opinion and judgment, you know, is not as meaningful and important as God. Right.
It's amazing that you said God. I'm just fooled instead of asking what's on my paper. To have you have a happy relationship with God. You know, I still carry the pain from not having a father, and for different reasons. And that I question God even more now. Like, why did this happen?
Well, you know, I remember when I was in college, I went to go see my aunt, Hilda, who was my father's eldest sister. And she told me shortly after her brother was gunned down that he came to her in a dream and said that there wasn't a worry in the world. And so, you know, because it's inevitable, each one of us is going to cross over. And so this is just a stepping stone. And that's why it is extremely important that we do as much work that we can while we're here. We're not here by accident. We're here for a reason. And so we have a purpose to why we have life. And so, you know, it seems like someone is trying to prevent us from tapping into all of these reasons and being so connected with, you know, the universal spirit and the intellect. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where I was heading with that one. But God is definitely at the center of who I am, and certainly at the center of who my father was, because, you know, the reason he didn't fear the power that be is because he was serving God, and he knew that he was protected in that way. And so however we perish, however we die, you know, or whatever word you want to use, it's going to happen. But I rejoice for our ancestors who are gone and made it to the next place.
Yeah. Have you ever had dreams speaking to your father at all?
Yeah.
And if you could remember some, feel free to elaborate.
Well, no, you know, I don't know that my dreams of my father is seeing just this really big, vibrant, beautiful man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like, he whispered something to me.
I'm just trying to get as much insight as possible. So people gonna be watching this 100 years from now. It's gonna be a movie on your father and your mother and you and your beautiful sisters 100 years from now. And I here's my question, my thoughts that go into my head as it pertains to like the murder of your father prior to the murder, but the disconnect between he and the NOI is if the religious group is based off of honesty and truth, why was he the outing person when he was speaking truth as it pertains to Elijah Muhammad and his was it called promiscuities? I'm trying to think of the exact term.
Promiscuity, right?
Yeah, we know what we talk about.
Promiscuous.
yeah.
Well, I mean, again,
that bothers me to the core of me.
But we have to be accountable for who we are, regardless. We are going to be accountable for the life that we lived. Mm-hmm. And even in various African religions, there's always the scale, and do your deeds outweigh the bad?
Yeah.
And so that's something that you're going to be accountable. It doesn't matter what you do in the dark; it always comes to the light, right? And so, again, understanding that organization had, was infiltrated. John Ali, they said, was
part of it. Yeah.
Right. And he was, one of the top officials. And meanwhile, he's supposed to be a part of the government. He was I think he worked for the FBI or the CIA. I can't even, do you know?
He was an informant, I believe. And to the one that administered CPR to your father, I forget his name, was an informant.
Gene Reynolds.
And they didn't know till the day he was murdered, if I'm not mistaken.
They didn't know what?
That he was a part of the police. He was a part of the police until they realized that was him in the picture administering CPR. Right. If I'm not mistaken.
Right. And he lived to regret that. And when they showed him years later on Like It Is on Gil Noble's show, he didn't have teeth. He talked about having a drinking problem. So, I think that, we believe in karma. Yeah.
That's amazing. You could find peace in karma. We got another. Let me get this. Nothing can keep us down. No white sucker, primacy system, agenda, or attack. We are indestructible.
That's right.
Fire. Interview with the Honorable Queen. Yeah. We've been waiting on this interview, man. Like, we speak of your father every day by accident or on purpose. Like, your father is always a topic of conversation in the barbershop. Do you find solace and happiness that your father, for the sake of this metaphor, honorably walked towards death? If there is such a thing, because he knew, in my humble opinion, just based off what I'm reading, and feel free to correct me, that the end was near. Like, when like that last week of his life, it seemed like, and I only know it just through the readings and the teachings, but it just seems like, it's here. It's here. And guess what? I'm still going to say what I need to say. You know?
But he was still, fearful. And because he's human, and he was a young man. He was such a young man. And yes, I have spoken with, some people who said that he called them and said that, that it was going to happen that day. Wow. And, but he also talked about destiny, and he said that, there's no escaping destiny.
Did you have a conversation with Dick Gregory at any point? And
of course, he was very close to our family.
Yeah, and he gave his take on it. And how did y'all merge stories? Or
what do you mean? How did we merge stories?
Like in terms of what you believe happened in your adulthood, as opposed to
Well,
his.
we know what happened. We know what happened.
Yeah, yeah.
We know what happens. Dick Gregory knows what happens too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know what happened.
Now, years later, the King family got a big settlement. Is that something that would? I mean, I have to ask. Is that something that has been in discussion between you and your sisters?
No.
No.
Mm-hmm.
We have another one. We have a purpose to why we have
right.
a life. Thank you for dropping gems.
That's right. Thank you, Sister Patty.
Yeah. I know you got to get out of here in a couple of minutes, but I just want to say thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
It was a pleasure to have you. And do we get the books directly from you? Because I want to get all 5, and I would love for you to sign them to my kids. So
you can. You most definitely can. You can get them online because they are there. Yes.
And you sign them to my kids, really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I
good.
also have some here. And Terrence Bailey, he was the one. I just want to shout him out because, he was like, sister, you got to do this interview. And I said, okay, I'll do it.
Terrence, yeah, he was amazing in making this happen too. And thank you to everyone else too, Patty and everyone else for making this happen.
That's right.
Please come back. Please come back.
I will.
And when you drop your next book, January, or you coming something soon, but anytime, please come back. And we appreciate.
You give me a haircut?
I'll give you a fade. I'll definitely give you a fade. I won't cut the ponytail off. We'll just work on the side.
Right, on the sides.
Appreciate you coming in the barbershop.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a joy and a pleasure.
Appreciate you.
God bless you.
All right, likewise.
And don't be sad or anything because your father, he's in a great place and he's watching over you for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%.
I received that.
That's why you're doing that's why you're okay.
Nah, it's just I find it so refreshing because I've carried so much bitterness for like the Nation of Islam. I don't speak about it. I'm speaking about to you publicly, but because I don't know, but I believe that they had a great play in it. And 2, if the leader is bad, the fruit is going to be bad. If the tree is bad, if the roots is bad, the tree is going to be bad. And they made Malcolm to be this fall guy, and in my humble opinion, chickens have come home to roost is something that every Muslim should say in that moment. You understand what I'm saying? Every person of the NOI should be saying the chickens have come home to roost. The chickens, that should be the quote of the year as it pertains to the assassination of JFK. So that's why I find, and I stay silent on it so much because I know that the Nation of Islam help out so many black males. So I just stay silent. And when people say the Nation of Islam is great, I say the Nation of Islam is great. And if people say this is great, Elijah Muhammad is great, Elijah Muhammad is great, but I don't speak on it for those reasons, and it just pains me, what I mean? Because Malcolm deserves that shit, and it get emotional about it because your father meant so much. So, but thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on.
Okay. Well, listen, my mother taught me to love myself. I love who I am, like unconditionally. And it makes it very easy for me to say that I love you because I know that we're a reflection of one another.
Absolutely.
Okay. And God bless you for doing this great work that you're doing.
Appreciate you. Thank you for coming on.
Okay, love.
Appreciate you.
Okay.
Yep. All right, peace.
Aww.
Get off my show. Oh, she gone now. I ain't even get a chance. I had it in my notes about Nipsey too, so I'll get to it the next time she comes on. That was a good show, man. A very good show. Let me turn the camera. So yeah, you knew Fred was gonna cry. Shut the fuck up. You knew Fred wasn't going to. But anyways, man, I appreciate y'all coming on. Do y'all want to debrief for like 20 minutes? I'll take some phone calls for like 20 minutes if y'all want to. And then we got another. Yeah. Feel free to call in and we'll go. That was a quick cry. I can't let y'all see me I can't let y'all see me like that, man. But it was a great show, man. You know what I mean? It was a great show. The phone lines are open, man. So feel free to call in. You give me a virtual hug, I appreciate you. Thank you. Because you know the irony about this is, I don't know if I've ever said this to y'all, but I didn't have a father, so it was like my grandfather and Malcolm. That was it. Like 816, I think it is. What's up?
What's up, Fred? You taking call?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, nigga, you called in.
I'm making sure, man. This KP from KC.
Hey, what's up, dog? What's up, man? What's up?
I'm gonna call in tonight too, man. But that was a very great interview.
I
want to share a little bit with you, man. That was great. I know I call in all the time, but one of those parts that really, really always that like challenged my thought process was being that I believe in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I have family members that believe in Islam.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that kind of happened was the Reagan laws, because my father and my uncles all went to prison at the same time.
Mm.
So in the 80s, they go to prison and they're going away for 20 some odd years, right?
Yeah.
But when they come back, it's a whole new world. You know what I mean? So I've always had that feeling towards X, and I've always read stuff about him and read the books. And I've always had a different feeling than most quote unquote Christians would have. Most Christians shun away from him because they listen to what people say instead of researching themselves.
Yeah.
So when you research yourself and you find out who the man really is, that changes the dynamics of how you think about the person.
Yeah.
Because I've always held X higher than any other leader that we have ever had, except for Marcus Garvey. But I always understood that he was a disciple of Garvey because of his parents. So once you research it and you learn those things, it takes you to different places to let you know that even all the people that always led our people, they were always spiritual and they always believed in a higher power no matter what goes on. So even if you disagree with somebody believing in something, you always know that that person that's trying to really, really try it hard, he was so honest, he was so humble and direct at the same time, wrapped into one person, allowed us to see something like we've never seen before, we've never seen it since. Yeah, without it's kind of like he was without flaw so much that they had to get him, because if you really look at him, he's like our Black Jesus.
Facts. Big facts.
And I'm gonna just leave it at that. That's it, man.
I appreciate you calling in.
All right.
That's okay, Q. Appreciate you, homie. Yeah, it's they've had 55 years, 65, 35 plus 20 is 55. 55 years to dig up dirt on Malcolm. There's never been any dirt on that man in 55 years. So that tells you like the level of integrity in which he walked the face of this earth with, so it's but I've always had that question as what's up? 816, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Fred? Hey. Man, this Randy from Instagram.
Hey, what's up? Oh, what's up, man? What's up, man?
It's good, man. Man, I just want to say, yeah, you're doing an awesome job on your shows, brother, your interviews. You didn't expand it more than just sports, brother. You touching the culture. You feel me? I'm a little under the weather right now, so I sound like that, but
it's okay.
I just want to say I appreciate you exposing the Tyson Fury thing. I appreciate you pushing the Paulie Malignaggi thing. I appreciate you getting the exclusive interviews, even with Malcolm X's daughter, man, and just everything you're doing, brother. I just want to say keep doing your thing, and I support you 100% of the way. Also, it's crazy how on your show, the Terrence Crawford, Gary Russell thing pops off, and now these cats is about to fight each other.
Let's hope. Let's hope it happens. Let's hope it happens.
Yeah. Keep doing your thing, brother.
Appreciate you.
All
right. One. If they do fight, I better be in. I better be the PR person for Gary Russell. You know what I mean? I better be a helper. You know what I mean? No, Joe. I don't want to take no COVID test. But yeah, man, it's I had fun doing that interview. I had fun. It was easy. It was because there's so much information that I know. I didn't even, this funny thing is, I think that's one of the few interviews like off a person you don't know, like boxers. you always can go to questions like, what do you think about this fight, when you run out of questions and shit. But man, I got like 30 years of information in my head. So that shit was so easy to do. 773, what's up?
Peace, Fred. It's Caesar.
Hey, what's up? What's up, man? I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the support, man.
Man, I appreciate the interview and everything, man. You know, that's I feel the same way you feel when you bring up that bloodline. You know what I'm saying? And
facts. Yeah.
like I said, I have catch myself. I was about ready to book piss on dude's grave.
Oh man, you have no idea. You have no idea.
But yeah, I just wanted to send my appreciations to you, bro.
Yeah, that's what.
And being a part of the barbershop and everything.
We're a community, baby. We family now. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I ain't gonna hold you up, bro. But I appreciate that interview.
Thanks, dog.
And be smooth, bro.
All right, one. Thank you, dog. Thanks, Caesar. Appreciate you. Who's the big and old yellow? Good show, Fred. You doing great work. And Malcolm is fair to relate. Yeah, he's big. Yeah, he's the best. The biggest. So yeah, man, she get that all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't imagine, shit. I don't know. So we good on the calls, man. We done debriefed a little bit. We saw Lauren Bevel in here, man. She be asleep for the night show. No guest. Yeah, we do have a guest tonight. We have Jay Morrison's former business partner tonight. It's gonna be a hell of a show. And we'll find out where the show goes. You know what I mean? I will. What's up, Mr. Finesse? Yeah, man. I see you in champ size chat, so I know you're alive. You know what I mean? I see you in there from time to time. So 904, what's up? 904.
Hello?
I'm here.
Oh my God. Okay, so I just wanted to say it was a great interview, and I love how she mentioned how she called Mrs. Coretta Scott King Auntie Coretta.
Yeah.
It was great because history doesn't show how the Shabazz and King family really had this friendship, especially between Betty and Coretta. And she touched on how her eldest sister Atua had this real close friendship with the eldest of the King family, Yolanda, and how they really started to become friends and how they had this whole friendship. So yeah, it was a really great interview. Thank you so much for that.
Who am I speaking with? We don't.
You're speaking with Rose. My name's Rose.
Thank you for calling in, Rose. We appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. And make sure you come back tonight at 9. I don't know where you at, but 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Thank you for calling in.
Okay.
Yep. First time caller. Thank you. We'll go 2 more calls and then we'll get out of here. I gotta go. I gotta go back to daddy mode. 845, what's up?
Barbershop conversation.
Mr. Finesse, what's up?
Salute, Fred. How you living, man?
I'm great, man. How you feeling?
I mean, I need you to know I'm alive.
No, I check in champ side. Lauren Bevel missed a doctor's appointment for this interview, so we got to salute her.
No, facts. Salute Lauren Bevel.
Lauren Bevel, Blue Blood is in Vegas, so make sure y'all link up. Go ahead.
With this COVID shit, my hours are switched around, so now you be on too late for me.
I get that. I get that.
Champ side, and then I'm dead.
I get that.
But now I wanted to salute because it's been a while. So and I've been wanting to hit you. I wanted to salute you, bro, for a few things you've been on top of. Number one, your foot is in Paulie Malignaggi ass, and I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And you keep bringing topics to light that people are not really talking or thinking about. You know what I'm saying? And what you did today, you don't even be realizing. I don't think like the level that you're taking shit. What you did today. For a lot of people that's young, that listen to the show, that don't know, that only go by what they hear, now they've been exposed to a different side.
Yes.
So now maybe people who didn't really want to know because they felt something negative based on what they were hearing, now you get a different point of view to make you do your own research. You know what I'm saying? And something that we say on this channel, not just this channel in general, a lot of people be like, you know, I'm more Malcolm than Martin. Or I roll with Malcolm, I don't roll with Martin. When what we really need to realize is you don't have to pick.
You don't. That's what we talked about last week.
You never have to pick. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But in America, what they try to do is pit us against each other. You know, you can't have 5 great comedians that's black. You can only have one. But you never see no argument between George Carlin and Robin Williams, right? You can't have 5 great black musicians. You can only have one. But you don't see no arguing between the Osborne dude and Bruce Springsteen. You see what I'm saying? When it comes to anything, and let's go into boxing. Let's keep it simple for the listeners. You don't have to pick between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. You can fuck with both. But that's just not the way this structure is set up. So I just appreciate, like I said, you bringing shit to the light that people are not talking about. And also, Fred, because you got the power to do so, you also can help write the rewritten history. Because it's a lot of stories being told that are not true. And because Americans are so sick with cognitive dissonance, we need, on a large platform like your own, to just drop facts. We ain't got to even put opinions and feelings in it. Drop facts so that people are aware most of the stories that you know are bullshit. And there's no reason within, especially within our community, which is small to begin with, and it ain't like we have a bunch of great leaders that you are picking from. It ain't no reason to narrow them down. Marcus Garvey was a great man. Paul Robeson was a great man. Martin Luther King was a great man. These are all great men. And you could take something from everybody. You don't have to pick and choose. That's the greatness of us. You know, unlike what Joe Biden said that we aren't diverse, you know, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life, because in my opinion, we too goddamn diverse. You know, there is no one. So people say the black community, you know, the black vote, there is no one black agenda. So it's hard to create this one community, this one vote, this one state of mind, because we're all over the place. Some people just trying to get mine. Some people about the whole community. Some people just trying to get, you know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, we got to scale down with like the separation. I'm talking about amongst each other, because that's what they're going to do on the outside anyway. That's why our foundation got to be solid as hell. And you, the whole LDBC, Champ Side, I mean, shout out to you, 7A Sports, Champ Side, Blue Blood, Black Fight Fans, because y'all are putting your faces and your names on the front line, and you're doing it for very little money, and you're really doing it for us. So even though you don't be seeing me like that, my brother Fred, I appreciate you,
Thanks,
dog. I always have. I always will. You keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to tell you one thing, and I'm going to rock.
Yeah.
You see, I don't know if you read it, because I wrote it in your chat. But you see the way that you had that dude, I don't even want to say his name, the dude that you had on the show, and he was talking to Gary Russell, and he was talking to Gary Russell a little crazy. You remember? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That was what I wanted to see Ticket TV do to Jason Whitlock. You know what I'm saying? Like, Gary Russell don't deserve that kind of energy, but Jason Whitlock damn sure do. So, you know, that was I was a little disappointed in how that. It don't matter. We move on. You know what I'm saying? You doing your thing and keep doing it, bro. Because like I said, if you're not doing it, nobody is. You know what I'm saying? Especially you bringing legal to Fred, you killing this shit, bro. I'm gonna let you rock, because I know other people want to call in, but
appreciate
there's plenty I got to tell you. You know what I'm saying? And there's plenty to say. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for doing what you do. Shout out to the Barbershop Conversation. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Y'all send my man some money through the PayPal or the Super Chat. It's time is money. He earned it.
Appreciate
All right, Fred. Salute, my brother. It's Mr. Finesse. I'm out of here.
Yep. Caesar, this call on point. That bozo motherfucker yesterday had never called Fred a Sambo, but what kind of interview Fred bring to the barbershop? Good work. Hold on, let me get this door. My kid's banging on the door. Hold on one second. All right, I got to go back in daddy mode. What's up? I got to play with. We'll go one more call. One more call when we get out of here.
Look at that.
DB. Oh, perfect. What's up?
Yeah.
Here, take this. Here, go make me some more food. Go ahead. Go ahead. What's up?
Yeah, you know, man, this is woo. See, at the end of the night when we get fired up, we ain't got nothing to do. The only thing we can do is take it out on whoever laying next to us or go for a run. You know, and now it's in the middle of the day, so now we can use all of this energy to go bang on Mauricio Suleiman, to go bang on our local city office.
Yeah, facts. Big facts. Big facts.
For real, you know what I'm saying? We can take the fighter spirit, you know what I'm saying, and we can really run with this. Now we can really call the state attorney general's office and the lieutenant governor's office of Connecticut for the Suleiman family. You know, like this is our time right now. And it's in the middle of the day. The sun is up. It's hot. We all don't have to go to work. We don't got shit to do. And all right now we got to do is take this positive energy and go give it to Jamel Charlo, you know what I'm saying, and Jamal Charlo, and take all of the negative energy and we take it out on these devils and go bang on them right now. That's what it's all about. So everybody that's in parent mode, go back to doing your thing for a few minutes. But right now, man, it's our time to go do our thing. Send out those text messages, emails, go outside a little bit, you know, and yeah, we'll see y'all back here at the barbershop at 9 p.m. Don't come in earlier than that, 9 o'clock. Get ready for some fade. And at this moment, play the song.
Oh, man.
Come on, man.
Damn, man.
Yeah, come
on. Man, you usually talk for 34 minutes, man. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all coming in here, man. We'll be back. We'll be back in 4 hours, 5 hours, 4.5 hours. We'll be back in 4.5 hours, man. It's a great show, man. I appreciate you, DB. Thank you. Yeah, hey, yeah, Kennedy, yeah. Hey, we about to be in Play-Doh mood for the next 3 hours. Thank you. It was good. Right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It was. Is Rob G in here? Yeah, we're going to play. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to wait till Rob G's part come on, and I'm going to get the hell out of here.
Right on.
Yeah. Hey, Kiki. man, what's up?
Hey, Unique Don even stepped in. We got a couple of friends in here.
Unique Don. Hey, Unique Don. We had Lauren Bevel. We had Patty Dean. Hey, it was a great time. You ready, nigga? You gonna follow my lead or you just gonna do it on your own? What you gonna do? Hurry up.
I got you.
What? Because the devil is a lie. Hey. I'm telling you the truth. Hey. Jesus. Hey. Things you gotta do. Hey. Man. It's over, man. It's over. It's over.
I'm so pumped up right now.
Aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Don't talk you into eating that damn plate. Hey, I got some more. Hey, it's all day till 8:30. That's all we do. 8:30. Thank you. That's Play-Doh and train tracks. That's what we on right now. Play-Doh and train tracks. Oh man. Thank you, Kennedy.
The Queen Lauren Bevel in here.
Yeah, Lauren Bevel in here. All right, here we go.
Here we go, Rob G.
It's my personal statement. Running game like I'm ASIC. All right, let me get out of here, man. These kids begging for my time, man. They getting jealous of this microphone, man. I love y'all. I love you, DB, man. We'll be back in 4.5 hours. I'll see you in a little bit, right?
I'll see you in a minute.
All right, appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all in a bit. Let me get out of here.
All right, go.
All right, peace, King.